We are here to bring you everything and anything surrounding Porsche. I'm Mike.
I'm Aaron.
And this is P-Car Talk.
Welcome to another episode of P-Car Talk. I am Mike.
And I'm Aaron.
And we have a new sponsor, right?
Yeah, we do. A loud one.
Yeah, a very loud one. He's going to be sponsoring the next 4 episodes. That is fdmotorsports.net. That's Darren Pfister.
Yeah.
He owns that company. And what they do is they do a lot of things, right? They do exhausts for 964, 993, 996, 997, Cayman, and Boxster. So
if you have something,
all the important stuff, right? And I think one of the key factors that a lot of people may not know, especially at least on the East Coast about them, because they're a West Coast company, the interesting thing is they take your factory exhaust and they make it perform better, so you get more horsepower, and there's a better tone to it as well. And they can also powder coat them, Cerakote them, whatever you want to do to kind of give you that factory look, but you're definitely getting a lot more bass, a lot more horsepower out of it. And that's something in-house, something he's done, and he has a formula for that. So there's like a secret thing that he does, which is great and that we love. And, you know, there's a lot of guys and gals out there that like that factory look, but they definitely want more power out of it because, as we know, factory exhaust is super heavy, so he gets a lot of that weight out of it. And additionally, he gets a lot of the sound bending out of it as well, which we also love.
Helps.
And he only doesn't just do that as well. He also has an array of products. They have short shifters as well. Most notably, Singer is using his patented short shifter the goldenrod in their car. So if that's not enough reason to go to their website and buy some of their products right there, that just shows you the craftsmanship that FD Motorsports is putting into things.
For sure.
So we want to thank them for sponsoring this episode. Remember to support the people that support P-Car Talk. So go to their website again, fdmotorsports.net, buy some products from them, tell them we sent you. We definitely would appreciate it. I'm sure Darren would definitely appreciate that. And show some support, guys. I mean, he's providing a product that is second to none. So go ahead and support him on that. So we definitely love Darren for that. And again, support the people that are supporting us by supporting them, by buying a product, right?
Yep.
All right. So let's move on. Circle of life, the Porsche circle of life, brother. Right? So race news. Some interesting things. WEC series has already obviously started. IMSA hasn't started yet. That's the 24. We'll get to that. 8 hours of Bahrain just recently went through. And this is kind of interesting. So it's going to be a little in depth. So buckle up a little bit here. Porsche ends up getting on the pole, qualifying on the pole 1-2, which is a great start to any 8-hour endurance race because you start out front. You know, the more momentum you got, the more everything is going to happen there for you in a positive way. But they end up finishing 5th and 6th.
Yep.
So reason behind that. Both cars had car trouble in about hour 4, roughly. I mean, don't spot me on time, but give or take. One car had a rear dampening problem, was brought in. They lost like 4 laps because it took them that long to figure out what was wrong with the car. It just wasn't doing what they needed to do. Other car, center lock went on it and they lost like a tire and it tore up the car a little bit. They brought that car in. They got it back out there. Obviously they finished 5th and 6th. But, you know, the team members talked about the car after post-race and the drivers. They felt like the cars were fast enough to win the races. Obviously, if they qualified on pole 1-2, that says a lot right there about the lap times that they put down. So there's a little demoralization there because they lost a lot of points. They left a lot of points on the table. And as the season goes along, you know, obviously that could come back to bite you, especially in a long season where anything can happen. And these things are usually not won by landslides. So, there's a big point difference between 1 and 5.
But if you kick off the season without a win, you're already behind the curve.
Yeah, momentum. Exactly. So you're already trying to play catch up. The reason why I bring this up, and I'm getting to it, so bear with me. So they were both bummed on it. You know, they talked a little bit about it. Now everybody knows this is an all new car for this season.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's
so here we are. But Porsche's good at R&D, so this car has probably been shaken down before.
Yeah.
But do you feel that this is still just like new gremlins? Could this end up dampening their season because they switched over to a newer car and things are different now? Because I mean, what are your thoughts and theories behind this now? Because it was both cars. I know with circumstantial, like kind of crazy stuff happens. That's racing. That's why you go racing, because
endurance, especially.
Exactly. Things can happen. And that, as we have talked about many, many times, that trickles down to us as customers benefiting from that. But back to the racing side of it, do you feel this is maybe just going to be a shakedown season, and are we not going to be in the championship at the end? Or, I mean, obviously, clearly Porsche is going to continue to push that. That's not their goal of the season. They always want to win. But do you feel just because there's a new car and there's still shakedown stuff, and you think the car would already be shook down, and it's...
Well, I mean, first off, it wasn't anything motor-wise, that type of thing. So that's that's a positive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the rear dampener, mid-engine's still new. That's one of the things. Like you said, that's not, I don't know if they've tested it for 8 hours or 4 hours. And no, I'm sure.
Knowing Porsche, I'm sure they put it through the gamut.
And then
there's no way they didn't.
The center lock, that's just weird.
Yeah.
That technology's been there forever, so whatever. That's just maybe somebody tired. Or just didn't.
Yeah,
or
part failure.
Or part failure. Yeah. I think they're gonna put up a good fight for the whole season. Especially if they're pulling 1 and 2. There's no reason they couldn't continue to dominate like they did IMSA this year.
Yeah, I think the most concerning thing is that it's part failure type stuff. It's R&D type stuff, and they're good at R&D. So it's just tough to, when you have a car, it's already dialed in, and you move to a newer platform. I'm sure there's a lot of inside baseball stuff that we don't know that's coming down the line.
I wonder how much newer it actually is. Like, is it 90% newer, or is it...
Yeah, that's tough to say. I don't think they really released it. They just said they're all new. We've discussed this before many, many times, where we feel the engine's so far forward now. That's why there's a side exit exhaust. Is that screwing with suspension? Is that screwing with what they're used to from an engineering standpoint? As far as, I know they have mid-engine cars.
Yeah.
It's not one of those things, but and where I'm going with this is, do we feel that this is going to be an ongoing thing for their car? Because granted, the RSR car and the GTE Pro car, they share a lot of stuff, even though it's a different car. Oof, I hope this doesn't trickle over to IMSA.
Maybe this is something. I don't see that it's going to be an issue. I think maybe it's just a little bit of jitters. But you can only test it. You can test as much as you want to, and just because it doesn't break in the controlled environments or your environments you're putting it through.
You're right, and it could be circumstantial. Things happen. Somebody cut a tire. There's nothing you can do about it. Weird stuff happens. Somebody rear ends you coming in too hot, and you end up losing your spot because of it. And there's not enough to quantify. Obviously, this was happened in this one race.
Yeah.
But I guess the reason why I bring up is because it's just interesting to hear them sound so demoralized from.
Well, it's because they're winners. That's what it is.
I know.
You're not a good loser when you're on top all the time.
Yeah, I know, but it's one of those things. It's like, we would have won. Whatever. Yeah. Shit happens.
We'll just win the rest of them.
Yeah, right.
That's it. That's how we go in there.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting to bring up because I was somewhat pseudo. It's the new car.
Yep. Well, just for the rear dampener, you think that? That's introducing a ton more heat with the way they're wrapping the exhaust in front.
Yeah, it could be.
I wonder if it's any lighter. It's got to be shorter, right?
Yeah, you'd like to think so, but at the same time, you wonder. I think the most concerning thing is how many laps they lost, trying to get that dialed in.
It must have been. I don't know what's wrong. What's wrong?
Yeah. I don't know. It's broken.
1 lap.
It's broken. Fix it.
2 laps. All right.
Let me get out of here. I don't care. I'll drive a broken car.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's probably verbatim what happened.
I'm sure there's a little bit more German and a lot of swearing going on, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But, best of luck to them. We, obviously we're always supporting the Porsche race team. I just wanted to bring that to light, not to bring anybody's mood down or anything like that. I just want to kind of, and information wise, because, obviously things are sometimes that happen across the pond. Most of our listeners are over here in the U.S. We don't really hear that kind of stuff that's going on until
I'm surprised that season starts so early.
Well, it also finishes before IMSA season 2.
Yeah.
So I guess it's just the way it is. Because, they're in Bahrain, so
they a month early?
Yeah, they're starting in other places. I think they were in Thailand or something like that, or not too long ago, that WEC challenge. So, I mean, it being a world challenge, that's, it's, I don't know if their goal is to rival the EMSA, because EMSA is obviously worldwide too, but it's definitely an interesting series, needless to say. So let's move on. Talking about race stuff. Since we're on the race topic, Rolex 24 coming up.
Oh yeah, it's coming up soon.
Yeah, so
January.
by the time you're listening to this, it'll almost be a month away. Roughly, give or take a week, I should say. Great race, great track, great people. Aaron's going to be a first timer to this. He's going to get deflowered at Rolex.
Yep.
I want to hear from, and if everybody who doesn't know, the Rolex 24, if you're not into motorsport and you don't know what's going on, let me give a little bit of background before we get too far into opinions and things like that. So it kicks off the EMSA season.
Yep.
It's a 24-hour endurance race that happens in Daytona, Florida at the end of January.
Nice and cold.
Yeah, well, yeah, it could be, or rainy or whatever, usually rainy every year. But either way, for most of the country and most of the world, in the Northern Hemisphere, it's pretty chilly. So it's a good reason to get out of the cold and watch an impressive race. There's going to be some new contenders with some new cars this year. Not everybody, but there's some of the big boys are running new cars this year. It'll be interesting to see how this race pans out. 24-hour race, as we all know, there's obviously the Le Mans, that's a big one. But anytime you do a full 24-hour endurance race, anything can happen.
Especially 24 hours, 30 minutes to go. You don't know.
Crazy
5
stuff.
minutes in.
Yeah, crazy stuff happens. But overall, it's a great race. It's a great camping atmosphere. Daytona is a well set up track. The facilities there are very nice.
Oh yeah.
It's got a very good point of view from a fan base. You can see a lot of the track from a lot of angles, especially as you stay in the infield. And it's a relatively inexpensive race to go to. I don't want to say it's cheap, but it's relatively inexpensive for what you get. I mean, obviously it's not Le Mans, but you also get a better view than you do at Le Mans at this track.
It's definitely ease of access walking around to see cars on different corners.
Yeah, people are speaking English, so that helps.
A little bit.
Yeah. But needless to say, I think it's a very underrated event that people do not attend enough. I'm not saying it's dead silence out there. There's quite a few people there, but every vendor in the world is going to be there as well, as far as like it's competing in the race. They bring a huge booth there and display whatever cars are putting out. So it's a little mix of everything too. So then you're on walking traffic, you get to see static displays of brand new Porsche's that are going to be out, or Mercedes that are going to be out, or BMW, Lexus. You get the point. And in addition to their race teams, and you get pit access, by walking around, you get to see the setup if you get there early enough. IMSA does a really good job of letting the fans get super, super close to everything, and the access that you do get. So I encourage you, if you have nothing to do, or even if you have something to do, cancel your plans, come to the event. And start seeing some motorsport stuff. I mean, even our intimate group of people that we're friends with, there's people that we talk to that are Porsche people that haven't been to this race, and I'm kind of dumbfounded by it, to be completely honest with you, because I'm like, are you an idiot? Like, why would you not go to this race? And I don't know. I guess it's just kind of a no-brainer for me that when race season comes along, I know when the races are and why I'm going to the races, all of the ones that I can in my region, for two reasons. You want to support that race because you want to continue it to be there.
That's one thing for sure.
And then number two, you get to see some badass cars.
That's always a win.
So again, like we talked about before with static displays, and there's no hate against that. That's not our favorite thing to do, is sit there and look at cars that are just stagnant and sitting there. And I want to see what it sounds like. I want to see it go around the track. I want to see those things. But enough of that spiel. So back to what I was going to say with Aaron. Going to be your first time. So what are some of the things that you're expecting as a first-time person going to this event? And then maybe some of the listeners can relate to that. And maybe that's what they're looking for too. And then we can kind of do, a post-app, of you being there, and what you really thought. So what are some of the things that you're looking forward to being there?
Well, I'm already prepared for just tons and tons and tons of people. That's what I'm prepared for. I mean, because it's a pretty good sized track, but it's not for the amount of people I expect to be there. Wall to wall everywhere, I would imagine.
Yeah.
I'm I hope it to be a little bit better than Road Atlanta. As far as like vendor setup, I figure
it's going to be way better.
Way better.
And nothing against Road Atlanta. It's just going to be better.
Yeah. I don't know what the access is going to be like. You said in the pits. Was it like Road Atlanta for the pits, or is it closer? Or is it different?
It's the same. It's just like HSR.
Okay.
You know, when we went down there, you could get in there, you could walk around. I mean, you're not going to be able to get inside because it's roped off. But I mean, literally, like you could probably touch the rear spoiler on the car, and it won't be a problem. Like you can get really up close and personal in the bays and things like that. And that's pretty much that. You get that kind of access all the way up until the start of the race.
As far as like camping and stuff, because I know we camped for the HSR thing. Is it like is there tents everywhere, or is it kind of?
Well, it's kind of spread out because there's a big RV section where, like at HSR, we saw some RVs, but remember I was telling you like the main drag row, like there's nothing but multi-million-dollar RVs all over the place because it's such a big race. And then there's designated camping areas where there's a lot more like camping tents. And then there's little pockets of tents here and there, all spread out over the place. So there's a lot of people that camp at this event because it is a 24-hour event. I mean, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice. I know there's a lot of people, and we have a lot of prissy friends out there too that don't like to camp. And I'm not saying camping's like my favorite thing to do, but in general, when you have a 24-hour race, at a minimum, the night of the race, you want to stay at the track because the things that you get to see at night on a racetrack are totally different as far as like, you know, the glowing brakes and the fire coming out of the cars, and the cars look like spaceships because they have so much lighting on them. They have to light up their numbers. Stuff, you have to be able to see the numbers. You have to be able to see the cars. Yeah, and everybody's looks a little different. It's just kind of a special place to be. And if you've never seen it, you know, a picture isn't worth what you get to hear and see, and you see that in person. It's just it's almost like a different race altogether, being able to see it in the day and the night. Yep. And, you know, if you're staying off campus, you're like, oh, okay, I saw it for like an hour, I'm going to go. It's like, no, it's kind of cool to wake up at like 3 a.m. and just kind of go walk down.
Yeah, they're still there.
You know, walk down by like whatever turn, and they're still running, and they're going hard, you know, like everybody's making their moves. And I think that's a thing that a lot of people never talk about a lot, because there isn't a lot of people that are doing what we're doing, obviously podcasting about things like that, but also the people that are staying up that late, they're talking about it with each other. They're not really sharing with
the friends. Like, hey, remember, 3:30 in the morning when
this
happened?
Yeah, exactly.
Totally missed sleep in the hotel.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was staying at my Airbnb. What happened? It's like that. And, you watch the replay or whatever. It's just not the same. And so the nice thing is, too, because it is 24 hours, pretty much everything stays open 24 hours. That
was going to be my other ask, because it didn't stay that way for the HSR thing. It was kind of like, it was actually shut down kind of early, but yeah, that's
but again,
cool.
That race was over at like 10 p.m. or 9 p.m. So
yeah, that's true.
I think it was a 6 hour or 7 hour. I don't know what it was.
I don't know. It's supposed to be long.
I was in a daze. But either way, I mean, so what else are you looking for? Are you interested in seeing what Porsche puts out as far as like, because last year, prime example.
If there's a different livery, that'd be cool.
Well, yeah, not even just that. What I was going to say, at the Porsche, their booth, the factory booth outside display.
Oh, like another hat or a shirt or something.
They displayed the GT4 Club Sport.
Oh, I didn't know that.
To the public. That was the first time anybody has ever seen it.
Oh,
and
so
it was
they do.
there.
So
they do reveals as well. So car manufacturers also reveal at this race. That just shows you how important they believe the race is. So they're, a lot of the cars they're revealing, obviously, since it's race spec,
yep,
they're usually revealing a race car.
I wonder if they're going to release. I mean,
might see the GT4 RS.
Or what about the Taycan race car? If they actually do that thing,
it could be. It's possible. Like, we could see that. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something that we haven't seen yet, because that's what they do. And that's what everybody kind of brings out. And that's what I'm trying to emphasize, is how it's not even just the racing. It's, you're going to see firsthand something that you haven't seen yet, like in Porsche's format, maybe something spied, but I mean, actually in person. And like I said, last year they had the GT4 Club Sport, and it hadn't been out anywhere yet. And that was the first time it actually was there in the livery and everything, like sitting there, and you could walk up and touch the car and all that kind of stuff. It was sitting in their like display booth. So,
that's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. So that's happening. As far as the livery they're running, I don't know. I would love for them to do something, but you just wonder how can they top this last year, right? With all the liveries that they ended up running.
Brumos and Coke,
Yeah, those are big ones. And then being in Daytona, do they run Brumos again? I don't know. Does Brumos spend the money because the collection's about to open up too to bring more? I mean, that'd be kind of neat, but who knows? I'm just excited that there's such a quick turnaround. Like we just finished,
we're gonna be back
literally
at it.
like a few months ago in Atlanta, and we're going to be right back at it. It's hard to describe because if you've never been to the racetrack for like a formal race, and I'm not talking about like a DE weekend or anything like that, not that those aren't fun, but the atmosphere of all the factory teams being there, because it's not just the Porsche team, it's everybody, all the other teams there too. The professionalism, the high dollar, how serious everybody takes everything. Yep. But even though there's that level of seriousness, you get super chill access. So I love the blend of that.
So it's almost like a factory HSR type.
Yeah, to like
atmosphere.
the umpteenth level.
Yeah.
Because you're looking, and then you see the drivers.
That's the other thing, too. It's going to be cool to see who's driving this year.
Mm-hmm. You see people that have won Le Mans. You see and it brings everybody out. It brings all the big dogs out, even past winners, current winners, everybody. So it's
sporting those Daytona Rolexes.
Yeah, it's the who's who of that, Le Mans racing and all that kind of stuff. You're going to see those race car drivers. I mean, this even though it's Daytona, I mean, even NASCAR drivers come out to hang out because it's such a big event. So enough to be said about that. But yeah, anything else that you're excited to see before we take a quick break?
I don't know. I mean, hopefully, just all those things. I didn't know they did car reveals. That's kind of that is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's one of those things where it's required or anything. I think it's just something it's each factory manufacturer wants to do on their own, and they take the opportunity to do that when they're there. So
yeah, I'm just excited to see Daytona and the full 24-hour glory.
Yeah,
for the Rolex. I mean, it'd be cool.
The Hot Mess Express. All right, so we talked enough about that. Let's take a quick break, and then when we come back from break, we're going to talk a little bit about some stuff that we kind of told you guys so.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting. All right.
Thank you guys listening to PCAR Talk so much. We appreciate you guys so much. I can't say that enough. Also check us out on YouTube. We release videos on Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Help support the channel. Everything we're doing is trying to bring the community closer together. We definitely appreciate that. Also, when you go onto YouTube, if you could subscribe, maybe pass it along, make a comment. We really appreciate that. Again, circling back to pcartalk.com. There is a newsletter created on there. Please put your information in there. That way we can keep you up to date on anything that's coming forward and anything that we're going to be doing moving forward and all the exciting things that are coming out. Now back to the show.
We are back from break, and we have some interesting things to talk about. I think one of the most interesting things to talk about is the development of the EV Boxster and Cayman. We talked about this in prior episodes. I can't remember. We've got so many of them out there, so just search through them. But we did say this is coming. And Aaron did say offline and online many times that he believed that this would be the first sports cars in Porsche's lineup to basically hit this full EV, because there wasn't going to be as much drawback or outlash or whatever you want to coin it as from the fans.
Yep.
And he's right.
The heritage is not really there for those two cars as long as
there's not going to be that much fight in such a short notice. And so a little bit of stats, they gave us a little bit of a teaser. So what's coming out? So 2023, expected deliveries on these, expected to have 400 horsepower.
That's healthy.
Very healthy. And then as we all know how electric motors work now, if you don't know, instant torque, instant everything. So if you're getting all that horsepower right away, I mean, it's going to be a stout little platform. And I'm sure these things, they're already low looking. So it's probably going to look really aggressive because they're going to keep the batteries down. I mean, it's going to probably be pretty stout. I mean, these things are probably going to fly off the shelves, to be honest with you.
Front axle lift, maybe, if it's low enough.
Didn't discuss any type of range on these cars at all. They did discuss dual electric motors, all aluminum monocoque to keep the weight down. So
oh yeah, they got to do something about weight.
well, yeah, I mean these things are going to probably weigh a ton. So configurations available are going to be all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive.
That's new.
So that's pretty cool. So in 3 years' time, 3 years flies by quickly, guys. So in 3 years' time, these cars are going to be out buying, driving around.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I know that we kept seeing this date, but then for it to actually be a real date.
Now, yeah, that they're saying this is happening on this day. Like and now we know the development of the full EV factory with Porsche with the Taycan. This is the reason.
And then
because they're going to start pumping these guys out
for sure. Oh yeah, I mean that's what we call it. When they did the big factory. It doesn't make sense to have one car development, and then I guarantee you we'll see a follow up article about the Macan is next because they're going to share.
Oh yeah,
it'll be quick.
Well, yeah. The nice thing about all of those platforms is I think all of these are going to share all of the type of motoring, the technology.
And that's good for production.
Exactly. And it's good from a consumer base. If you want something, it's not like you have to wait a long time to get it. As we know, everybody's a now society. So I think Porsche's trying to adapt to that as well. So, pretty soon, and this is going to roll into a tangent. So, you guys better hang on.
Yep.
But what are your thoughts on this as far as it goes? Does this make you nervous? Does this make you sad? How do you feel about this? Because we've talked about this for a long time in general about would we see in our lifetime a combustion engine going away altogether?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not so sure. I thought before that I'd probably be a really old man before this happened.
I'm bringing it.
But the fact that this is happening, I'm not saying that they're going to stop making the combustion engine, and Porsche didn't announce that as well, but they're just saying that these models will be coming out. So... and over time, like, what are your thoughts on that? Are you under the mindset now that I've dropped that bomb on you? Are you like, wow, this is happening a lot sooner than I thought it was going to happen? And if this is happening in 3 years' time, let's go a decade out. What's that going to look like?
Man, they're full. Everything's EV by then. Or I mean, everything except the 911. I don't know that they touched the 911 for a long time. Like they said, the things that stick out to me. One, all-wheel drive for these two cars. That's totally new, and that's going to be kind of weird. And then, secondly, that the performance. Is this going to outperform the 911? I mean, that's instant torque, instant 0 to 60 is going to be super quick.
It's entirely possible.
They've always wanted to not outdo that car. I mean, but that definitely seems like something that will happen. Being able to drive your car everywhere. I mean, your sports car, your Cayman or Boxster with the all-wheel drive. That's pretty cool. And I know they didn't say that they're not making the combustion engine, or they are after this point. But I don't think it's much longer that they're going to just kill it off.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, in that point, do we all become like people listening right now that are maybe in our age group or even older or younger, whatever? Do we all become the old guard now, regardless of our age, because maybe we're not making the step to just EV? And now, and what I mean by that is there was a group of people that were just the air-cooled people, and now people look at them as the old guard when they went to water-cooled. Are they turning another page now?
Is there a third generation?
Yeah, where there's going to be just EV people that are Porsche people, and they combustion people are going to be like, whoa, I'm not in with that. And now there's going to be another layer of separation. So now we're going to be in thirds now.
Do you think that both the Cayman and the Boxster are going to have their own special whir, like different than the Taycan? Are they going to make? Is every car going to have their own little signature sound?
I don't know how many word signature sounds you can make out there, but possibly.
There's German doctors.
Hands up. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe. I want to go back to. Does this make you nervous though? Like as far as like where this is going?
I mean, it's a little bit of the fact that when are the combustion engine is going to be outlawed, or when are constraints going to start happening? I mean, I know that the push to go green for across the world is happening at some point. I mean, that is a pretty large pollution creator.
I just think over time, I think it'll happen, but I think it'll be very difficult. Maybe manufacturers won't be making new cars with combustion engines, but I think it would be hard to second, fourth, fifth hand to outlaw those cars that people want to have a combustion engine, just for the fact that from some of the engineers that I've talked to, it takes a generation of people, or even more, maybe 2 generations, to phase that out. And what I mean by that, not even just like the consumer standpoint, but from people in the EPA office, from a generational turnover and another generation of turnover of like, okay, well, that's how we used to do things. This is how we're doing things now. Yep. Like that, the people that sit in those offices, the people that are sitting in our governmental offices. And the reason why I bring that up is because from a lot of people in a standpoint of, hey, if maybe they're in a less fortunate situation and the combustion engine is more affordable for them, we can't necessarily require these people to go out and buy a new EV car when they can't afford to do that, when they can go buy something that's maybe costs $2,500 and gets them to work, like a combustion engine Honda Civic or something like that. That's, old, but it's still reliable and still gets decent gas mileage, but it's a combustion engine. So to put that person in a position to say, no, you need to buy another car because that's outlawed now, I just think that's going to be a very, very long time before that happens, because at some point you're going to really be handcuffing a lot of people in this country and around the world in general with, hey, this is the way things used to be, but that's not the way it is now. So I think that phase is going to take a lot longer, in my personal opinion. Mm-hmm. Just because from a monetary standpoint, how can you do that to somebody?
Yeah, I mean, they'd have to be well, Porsche wouldn't rule the whole world.
No, I just meaning in general. You know what I mean? I'm just saying in like society, our society in general, I think it would just, at least I think there would be a lot of people that would rally against it, to be honest with you, even though there's a lot of tree huggers that are on board for that. But at the same time,
right now the range isn't there. There's not enough range. There's not enough longevity testing over multiple years. I mean, Tesla hasn't been out 10 years producing cars. What do I do with my used Tesla or my used Taycan, or what's the resale value on that? What are the battery cost?
And I'm sure there'll be a whole another third party market that opens up because of that. Yeah. But I'm just speaking in generalities, right? Yeah. Like, so, well, I mean, even somebody like, let's take somebody who's maybe working their way through college or something like that. Yep. They need a job. They need transportation. Can't afford a full EV car. So you're telling this person they can't better themselves now because they can't get around, because you're outlawing
Enjoy
them.
Public transportation.
Hop on the bicycle or
that's true.
Go back
There's
to
electric bikes.
Yeah, I'm just saying it. I think it's more of a kind of a dictatorship if you're doing it that way. It's like, look, this is the way it's going to be now. You guys are all screwed. You either get on board or not.
I agree. That's not going to be a transition.
That's not democratic.
No, I agree. This is going to be.
And not to get into politics, I'm just saying it's because I don't believe in that crap. But I'm just saying in general, like, you can't really do that to people because there's different people from all walks of life. Is all I'm getting at. Yeah. I think, and obviously you could get my opinion behind this. This concerns me a lot because I'm buying cars third, fourth, secondhand, whatever you want to call it. I'm not buying new cars, and I'm hunting combustion engine cars still to this day. And
those values going to be going up
or down. Yeah. Because if you can't use them, then who's going to want them?
Yeah. That's the other side of it, I guess. I didn't think about them. Yeah. If they are outlawed, then
they're valueless.
Then garage.
Then it goes back to static displays or track use only. I think there's a long time before that actually happens, and I'm not saying that based off of any information that I have, but I guess maybe out of a positive side of hope that doesn't happen, because if it does, I think myself, yourself included, and a lot of our listeners are going to be very, very sad people.
Yeah, it'll be a sad day. I mean, so what do you see as improvements for the Cayman and Boxster? I mean, that's the thing. Like every time we've driven one, I always feel like mid-range, maybe it's a little gutless. Well, now that it's electric, there's going to be a linear power for that car.
Oh yeah, I mean the torque rating is probably going to be through the roof on it.
Yeah, I mean with 400 horsepower, you expect maybe the same torque, if not more.
When I read this about what's coming out, you know what I really thought of? I thought about the initial launch of the Boxster.
Oh yeah.
Meaning, like, not that Porsche's in the same position financially. Meaning, where I mean by that, let me explain. When the Boxster first came out, it was more of an affordable, and it sold like hotcakes, right? Yep. So I almost kind of feel like these cars are going to be affordable EV sports cars. They're going to sell like hotcakes.
Yeah.
And like, there's going to be a second, almost like turbo that kicks in for Porsche on their sales side. And so they'll probably won't be able to, the first few years of these, they probably won't be able to have one at the dealership. I mean, they'll just be running through them, in my personal opinion.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good call. It's a good outlook on it that it could be the, a catalyst for all the Taycan.
Yeah. Cause it'll fund, it'll fund all their
Racing,
other stuff.
Formula E.
Yeah. It'll fund so many other things. And not that they need fund. I mean, like, again, they're printing money. It's not that big of a deal, but they're definitely
buying some new printers.
Yeah, they're forward thinking on this. They got to pay for that factory, right?
Yeah.
Obviously. They got to justify why they built it. It does make me a little nervous that this date now is so close to what
3 years away
we talked about, because I think you and I even discussed maybe this wouldn't happen for another 5 to 8 years. Yep. Even in the sports car range, meaning seeing a full EV. I'm not talking about a hybrid. We thought they might even go hybrid, then EV, but they just leapfrogged that all together and closed the window on it to say it's even closer than you thought. Okay, 36 months from now, we're going full EV on these two sports cars. It's like, holy crap.
I mean, like
you just took a dump on the hybrid side and was like, we're just not even screwing with that.
Yeah, and you made me think when you said hybrid that and the transition together, everybody, all the automakers could have made everyone do a hybrid car if they wanted to. That's better than what they had petrol wise. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the going full EV. I mean that just means they're ready.
Yeah. Or they want to be first to market in the sense of, okay, we have a full lineup of EV cars, all the way from SUV to sedan to sports cars.
Then they can just
that could be their push.
Close the factories for the petrol.
And then all of us motorsports guys, we just get put out to pasture and get to stare at each other.
Yeah, cars come by.
You guys will die off eventually. It's fine. These are for the tech people. It's like, what?
No, we'll like them. We'll be like, oh, this is awesome. Where were these at in their
I'm sure we're going to like them. They're going to be great cars. The fit and finish is going to be fantastic. The power delivery is going to be fantastic. I'm not saying that I wouldn't like it, but I'm already halfway deaf already from motor noise and everything else. Like, why don't we just take it all away? Like, I don't know. It's hard to wrap your brain around this because it's almost kind of one of those things that it's coming. You can see it in the distance. Like a sandstorm is the best way to describe it. You see it far out there. It's sand, but it's not here yet.
That's going to hurt.
And when it gets here, it's going to be a pain in the ass. And at first, you just get over it and deal with it.
Yeah. And then
I hate to speak of it negatively. Obviously, we're biased. But I just thought it was incredibly interesting that they've announced that.
Well, I mean, because Europe, like a million times, Germany has their 2025 rule where in cities they're cracking down on emissions.
Yeah.
And so that would be before that.
Well, yeah, I think that's a big driver for a lot of companies because as much as the U.S. is spoiled behind things, we're not the end all say all. I mean,
no.
We can look at the history of Porsche in general. They didn't send us RSs for a long time. We got a middle finger for that. So that was rest of the world base. So that shows you what they think about us.
It's true.
But anyways, in all seriousness, yeah, I mean, you got to have something worldwide compliant, right? So like these cars can be worldwide compliant because if you have something super strict somewhere else,
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. If it passes that, it's going to be fine anywhere. And now I can sell this car worldwide instead of making a combustion engine because maybe the U.S. is so much more laxed with their state-by-state EPA emissions for each one. It depends where you live and all the complications that go behind the 50 states and all that other stuff. Maybe they're just going to the head and saying, well, we make cars. That's what we do. And we don't want to make cars just for certain regions. We want to make cars for everywhere because we want to be profitable because we sell cars. So maybe that's the theory behind this.
Another thing I thought about, what do you think the naming convention is going to be? Do you think there's
Boxster? Don't even get started with that crap, man.
Boxster
Who knows?
And Cayman, or are they going to still use the S?
Boxster S, Boxster GTS. Well, it works for all of those because that doesn't really signify an engine because there wasn't like a Cayman turbo or a Boxster turbo, as opposed they did with the Taycan thing. And that's still... Jury's still out on that. Who knows if that'll change someday, but whatever. Who knows? I mean, There and they also circling back to this, they also mentioned. I think that's kind of the 400 horsepower one. I think that's the kind of
the high end,
the big boy, maxed out options one. I think that there'll also be lesser options as well, to kind of get in at a base price that's a little bit more affordable. I think they didn't discuss anything about pricing with this.
Do you think that's the GT4 that's 400 horsepower, or do you think, or it's not even?
No. That I don't even. They didn't even discuss anything about like GT cars or motorsport. I think this is just what this is going to be. I don't know if, and I'm glad you brought that up because I had that written down to talk about a little bit. What do you think this is going to do to that GT line? Do you think at that point they're going to,
I think if they go hardcore and they go Boxer Cayman, full EV, we're not making anything else but full EV cars, that GT line is still petrol at some level. Maybe that's what, I think there's enough crowd behind it that they keep it gas for
and
a
they
long
sell
time.
so few of them, maybe.
Yep.
Where they only run
What
off
makes
like
it even
2,000
more-
of them.
When you hear that thing ripping around to your Cars and Coffee, oh, that must be a GT car, because everything else is dead quiet. I don't know.
Interesting theory. I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with you.
I'm not saying it's going to happen, but
No. It's interesting to hear you say that.
Or at least if not full, I still say maybe that's where they go hybrid.
But if it goes back to what we talked about before, if it's back to emissions and it's all those other things, how could they justify that as far as so now has it become a US only car because it can't be sold in the rest of the world? It's not a row car anymore. So all the GT cars only become like US cars because our rules are maybe less stringent.
That'd be a flip.
And eventually we catch up. And I think it goes back to what are the governments doing? Mm-hmm. And I think that unfortunately, and it's nothing new. It's always controlled what these companies have had to do. Same reason why we have crash bumpers on G bodies, because they're an afterthought. They're like, oh yeah, by the way, you need to have 5-mile-an-hour bumpers on there. Like, oh, okay, cool. Slap these rubber things on there and sell them in the U.S., I guess.
Extra 20 pounds.
Exactly. Because that's our wacky DOT whatever rules, and we could see it influence the car. I mean, you can pick a generation and you can just see how it's changed everything.
Mm. But I can't be right about the petrol, because if race technology funnels down to the other cars, there's going to be a racing version the full electric racing version of every car would probably exist before they would have a petrol and then have an EV line. I don't think that makes sense.
Who knows? FIA rules, maybe adapting because of that. I mean, there's probably people in there lobbying right now. It's like, look, our race technologies needs to funnel down to our cars. That's why a lot of people are probably running hybrids. Maybe that's the only way that they're siphoning that hybrid style technology. So they're getting that electric motor, kind of like the 919 Evo.
Yep.
So a lot of that technology for the Taycan was derived from that.
Yeah.
So maybe that's how they're doing it, and they still have a combustion engine in racing, but because of the helper engine, that's where they're learning a lot of this EV stuff from, and it's funneling down to the cars. Maybe that's how they're getting away with it, in the prototypes and all those things.
Yeah.
So food for thought, good information out there. Don't kill yourself if you're at home and you heard that and you're a combustion engine guy. Obviously, hopefully we'll band together and we'll continue to have these combustion engines.
Lobby.
Yeah. If not, I guess there'll just be a select few of us that get together like old curmudgeons, and they're like, yeah, look at those guys driving their tractors around, making all that damn noise. It's going to be like an old 2-stroke motorcycle, essentially. Someday they're going to be like, why your cars make so much noise? Yeah, it's pretty badass, huh? It's like, no, it's not. It's disturbing my afternoon. It's going to be like, where did the world go, brother? But anyways, enough on that. Let's close with, obviously, Christmas is upon us.
Yeah, it's coming fast.
You're listening to this. I want to thank everyone that has already purchased a club membership.
Yep, thank you, guys.
Yeah, so if you don't know and you're listening what a club membership is, go to pcartalk.com under PCAR Club and become a member. There's explanations there. There's also a testimonial from Sean from Ren 11 on there as well, describing it. We've talked about it a lot. You can get somebody a Christmas present. We have heard a couple members already have bought other people memberships as well into the PCAR Club. So it's a great gift to give away. Additionally, we do have merch on the website that you can buy for Christmas presents. There's tons of t-shirts and Porsche stuff and posters that you can buy for that Porsche person in your life, or for yourself. You want to gift yourself something, because everybody always buys you crap, socks and underwear, and you want to buy yourself something cool if you're in the spending mood. So knock that out. Also want to say that there's a dual giveaway this month as a reminder. Thank you to our sponsors at Suncoast Porsche and also Oddly Artistic, Stephanie. Suncoast Porsche donated a GT3 RS Weissach pack model.
Yep, not their whole car.
No, it's a 118 scale, right? Yeah. I think it's like, don't quote me on it because I don't have it open, but it's like number 809 or 11 or something of 911 made. Shocker, they only made 9 or 11 of them. But you're going to get one of those if you're a P-Car Club member. And there's going to be 2 lucky winners. And then one person's going to win Stephanie's Brumos print, number 1, signed by her and then labeled number 1. So a big giveaway. Porsche Claus is giving away 2 gifts to the club members this month. But definitely want to say that. So it's a great thing. It's going to be a good thing. So, it's a double-edged sword. You want to win first, I guess. So you have the choice to pick.
It pays to be a winner for sure.
Yeah. But anyways, it sucks for us in a way too. I kind of want to talk about it for a minute. The prizes are so good. Yeah. And I'm not trying to get you guys to buy a membership, even though I'm trying to get you to buy a membership. But in all seriousness, these gifts that are given to us to give you guys that are they're so good. I want to keep them.
Yep.
Because obviously we're Porsche geeks too. And we like collecting stuff and we like cool stuff. This stuff is so cool. Not even just this month. Every month we get something cool from people to give away because they want to help the show. And we're thankful for all of the help. It sucks to have to give it away because it's almost kind of like you get to open it and look at it and you're like, some lucky boy or girl is going to get this. And I wish I was eligible to have this.
Yeah, I can definitely say that about the model because, I have a few models and I kind of stopped myself from buying stuff and I saw that I was like, well.
It's such a teaser, isn't it? Because this cool stuff comes in, how it works, guys. It comes in, we get it. People talk to us behind the scenes. Hey, we'd like to be part of this. We want to help you guys give something away. We love what you guys are doing. Yep. Just give us a shout out. Thank you for this. And we open it up, we look at it, and we're like, oh my God. Aaron and I both look at each other. We're like, we're going to give this away? We're going to give this to somebody? Why can't we have this? Exactly. But it just doesn't work that way. We're the facilitators to give that to you. I just wanted to say that because it is difficult for us to give these things away and not hang on to them. Yeah, and just be like, that giveaway, it didn't work out.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Yeah, we ended up, I guess, just hanging on to that one, and then you guys see it in the background. You're like, there it is. There it is. Those scumbags. I freaking knew it. I knew it. No, but we do give away everything that is given to us to give to you guys. And we've even been given extra things before for us to keep. And we give that away too because we want to give back so much more back to you guys. Yep. But in all seriousness, we hope you guys have a great Christmas. It's a great giveaway. It's a dual giveaway if you're listening to this. It's not too late to join if you're listening to this on Thursday. The giveaway is going to be at the end of the month.
Yep. On the 30th.
We normally do it on a Tuesday, but the Tuesday is going to fall on New Year's Eve. So we're going to do it on the Monday, January 30th. So if you're listening and you're a member, just make a mental note of that. If you do care, you don't have to be on the show to win. And then we'll make the announcement on the show for that evening of the 2 winners. And then obviously we'll contact the first winner first to see what they want. And then we'll move to the next one and then tell them that's what the prize is going to be after the first person picks. But again, thank you guys so much. You guys have a wonderful Christmas. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for all the members. Thank you for all the sponsors. We love all of you guys so much. We love being able to do this for you guys. And, we'll see you guys after the Christmas break.
Yep. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of P-Car Talk. Connect with us on Instagram at P-Car Talk or online at pcartalk.com.